Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Nerd to the Third Power, your one-stop shop for all things nerdy and awesome. I'm your host and master of ceremonies, Dr. Gonzo. With me, as always, in this epic quest of awesomeness is our resident anime goddess, the Cat. Cat, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
All right. And also with us, as always, in the other co-pilot seat is our resident English person. Who the hell are you, and what are you doing in my studio?
Well, I found this really comfy chair and I thought I'd show it all to you guys. Hi there, I'm Tony. Unfortunately, Skyblaze is not able to make it today, so I'm taking her place.
Okay, all right. Well, I wish that the secretary had let me know that, so that I could have prepared. But yes, welcome to the show, and we hope Skyblaze gets well soon.
As do I.
So we got a fun show tonight. We are discussing. We're doing sort of a part 2 of sorts to our previous Pokemon discussion. We're going to be discussing Pokemon Go, which to say it's taken the world by storm is the understatement of the millennium. I think this thing is just absolutely everywhere. Like, I have not seen Pokemon Mania like this since Pokemon was first released. So this is kind of nostalgic for me. So, but there is procedure to follow, and we're kind of making a slight change to our procedure. We seem to have accidentally created a new segment. In the last show we did, I posed a question about to the team about, you know, what's a first world problem that really irritates you, that you think is really petty to complain about, but it just drives you up the wall anyway. And I don't recall saying that we were taking write-ins on it, but we got some anyway. So we decided we're just going to go ahead and spin this off into the random topic of the week. So let's take a look at some of the responses here we got from the last show. First one here is from Sam, and it was addressed to Skyblaze. Skyblaze, I agree with you about the designer HDMI cables. The thing that really pisses me off is the people who are way too into their case mods, and who believe that their custom cases elevate them above their fellow gamers. Which, okay, yeah, I can see that irritating me. But on the same hand, you know, if it's something you've done yourself, a custom mod to your PC case, you know, that's something I can understand somebody being proud of. Let's see, another one here. This one comes from Ray, and he says, my first world problem is when you get to an intersection and you have a stop sign, but the guy crossing doesn't, and he stops to try and let you through. Well, you seem kind of rude, Ray. What do you guys think?
It's since I'm going to be here and I didn't get an introduction, I'm going to go first.
Oh.
Yes, Brian's also here. Hi, I'm Brian. I will say this because Texas has made me a terrible driver. Is that when I see stuff like that, it's not being rude. It does kind of irk you because the other person I realize is being nice, but I'm like, you have the right of way. Just go. Just go. I don't need to go.
Okay. All right. And this last one here, this one comes from Shirley. And her thing is, she says, my first world problem that really bugs me is when I tell people that I don't drink and they continue to offer me alcohol anyway. And I gotta say, I'm totally in Shirley's camp on this one, because people do that to me too. I'll say that I don't drink alcohol, that, you know, I'm a teetotaler, and they'll just be like, oh, well, just come on, try it anyway, you'll like it. And the thing that irritates me about that is that, like, you know, if we were to talk like cigarettes, like if someone offered me a cigarette and I said, no, I don't smoke, that would be the end of it. I'd never hear any more about it. But when it comes to like beer or wine, if someone offers me a drink and I say, you know, no thanks, I don't drink alcohol, they're like, oh, come on, just try it, you know, you'll like it. They keep pushing it on me.
Well, here's I'm going to a little adaptation there. Because people don't, I think cigarettes might be on the downfall finally, but vaping being on the upswing that it is, I've had many of people try to get me to vape, and I have to explain to them going, I can't have that. I have asthma. Oh, you'll be okay. No. I have asthma, meaning at some point in time, my lungs just stop working. So filling them up with any sort of smoke or liquid is probably a bad idea.
I haven't had anybody try and push vaping on me. Kat, what about you?
Nobody's tried to push vaping on me, but there are certain, I don't know, like there's certain maybe flavors of it, I guess you could call it flavors, that I have, I don't think I'm allergic to it, but it's sort of like cigarettes where I'm highly sensitive to it. So if I smell it, I both with certain flavors of vape and with cigarettes, my eyes start to burn, and then I start wheezing, and then my skin starts to like itch really bad.
God, you just turn inside out, don't you?
Yeah, I don't have a very good reaction, and I have coworkers. So this is my first world problems. I have coworkers who will vape in the lunchroom, but like not just like puff puff, but like puff 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 for like 20 minutes until the room is full of vape. And we got a complaint about it from somebody else, so I didn't have to complain about it, thank God, because I would have felt bad. But so now all the vaping goes on outside again, like you're supposed to.
Well, that and if they trace it back to...
For the love of God, don't vape around, like, in small enclosed spaces if it's not allowed. For the love of God, it's against the law in places.
That and if they trace the complaint back to you, suddenly you are the pariah.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but I'll be that guy if it means I can breathe.
All right, Tony, what about you? Since you weren't here last week. What is a petty first world problem that drives you up the wall anyway?
People who won't get out of the way. Simply just like, I'm walking down the street and then there's this lady with a goddamn pushchair who just like, you are directly in the middle of the goddamn path. There is like, I have to either turn sideways to get past you, but there is plenty of room for you to move to one goddamn side. Will you please do that with... Yeah, no, that's pretty much the one thing that really bugs me. I can walk at a fair pace, and then I'm sort of stuck in a traffic jam of old people. I can understand. They can't move as well. But when you've got a woman who's got 3 bawling kids who decide to take up the whole bloody pavement, that really gets me.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's something that's really hard to, like, say something about, because, like, there's no way to say something about that without coming off as a douche, because, like, hey, could you and your kids that you're trying your best to wrangle kind of, move off? There's really no way to say something about that without coming off as just a complete ass. So... All right, so now let's move on to this week's random topic, which is something that was suggested last week, and that's nerdy superstitions. Brian mentioned one. You don't like your dice mingling with other people's dice, am I right?
Well, only if that other person's dice is not doing so hot. If the other person's dice is on fire, yeah, then I try to get my other dice over there. It's like chicken pox. You want your kid to have chicken pox early so he doesn't get it again. That's kind of what happens.
Okay, Tony, as a Rabid Dungeons and Dragons player, I'm sure that you have some stories to tell.
I suppose similar to the whole thing of mingling dice. I suppose teaching your dice examples. There's a friend of ours, of mine, Sky Blazers, who has the worst luck ever. To the point where he has actually tortured his dice. And sort of like tortured one particularly bad dice and shown it to the rest of them as like, no, you will all get in line or you'll get the same as this one did, which includes sort of putting it in the oven and having it melt. Another one which is smashed with a brick. There was but one fight where his character basically dropped dead because of his poor dice rolls. But the thing is that the GM had actually put a load of buffs and tweaked his character so that he'd actually survive, and it turned out he'd not actually applied any of these buffs. So even with the poor dice rolls, he should have still been able to survive. So he took these anger out on the dice, and it's like, did you remember to add these on the end? It's like, no, I didn't. So it wound up with the next session, him breaking out of his coffin, and our cleric trying to turn dead on him. It's like, look, I'm not dead, okay?
I'm not dead, I was just taking a particularly lovely nap.
And I was like, yes, I have naturally low blood pressure. I have no pulse. It's okay.
It's just me.
Uh,
All right, Kat, what about you? Nerdy superstitions.
I don't know that I have a superstition or anything.
Or maybe not one that you have, but that you know someone who has.
I was going to say, I don't really know of any, but I can tell you that it's like a tick, more like, that if I buy a figure or a keychain or anything of one character, I have to make sure that I also have a figure or a keychain or something else of another character from that same series so that my character doesn't get lonely. So if I buy a keychain of something from Blue Exorcist, then I have to have another Blue Exorcist character hanging off the same keychain. Like, I don't want them to get lonely. It would be sad.
Okay. All right. My nerdy superstition. I carry a Warhammer 40k Blood Angel Space Marine around in my pocket at all times, and it's a particular one. When I played Warhammer 40k, I'll be the first to admit that I was not very good. I lost pretty much as many times as I won. It was like a 50-50 coin toss. And there were many, because I'm a stubborn bastard, I never, there's a rule where you play to 4 turns and whoever's got more units left on the board wins. No, I would play to, like, the last man. I would, no, we're doing, like, the 300 at Thermopylae here. We're going until everybody's dead. And there were several games in rapid succession where I won by wiping out all of the opposing army, but I only had one guy left on the board, and it was always this one model. So I decided that this one Space Marine had the Emperor's blessing, and from that point forward, I started carrying it around in my pocket to try and get a little bit of that luck. It hasn't. It's debatable whether or not it's actually worked, but it's something that I've done for so long that it's become just a force of habit now. So, but I have noticed that, occasionally, like, if the model breaks in my pocket, that things take a sudden turn for the worse. So, I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Maybe not. So, but that's our random topic for the week that we want to hear from you guys about. What is a nerdy superstition that you have or that you know someone who has? So go ahead and write those into drgonzo@nerdofthethirdpower.com. Same address as our Ask a Geek questions. Which we got a couple of those here as well. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And the first one is actually related to our discussion, which is what teams did we pick? So, Kat, let's start with you. What team are you on?
Team Mystic.
Okay.
Not for any particular reason. It's just that blue is my favorite color. I've never watched or played anything related to Pokemon before, so I have no context for anything. It's just that blue is my favorite color.
Okay. Brian, what about you?
Team Mystic! Woo!
Yes!
All right. And Tony, I know what team you're on, for we are brothers in valor.
Absolutely, yes we are. As is Skyblaze.
No one on this team is yellow.
No.
See,
No Hufflepuffs here.
that when Skyblaze announced that she was getting into Pokemon Go, what team she was going to pick, because I know that you'd already picked red, and I had this image in my head of her picking a different team and you guys having like a Romeo and Juliet situation. 2 houses, both alike in dignity, in fair canto, where we lay our scene.
You're very proud of that joke.
And
you glow when you say it.
And I'm disappointed that nobody's laughing at it. Read a fucking book, people.
You told me. I've heard it like 3 times now. That's how proud you are of it.
He's going to get it engraved and bronzed.
Damn straight I am. But, yeah, so those are the teams we picked. And there's a second question here, and this one is addressed to Kat and to Skyblaze. So I guess, Tony, you can answer in proxy. And that's the question that is asked is, you've both said that you haven't been interested in Pokemon before. Do you think Pokemon Go might get you interested in playing the actual cartridge games? So, Kat, let's start with you.
Generally, no. The reason why I started playing Pokemon Go is because every single person that I know will play it. And I just don't want to be left out. That sounds like such a lame way, or such a lame reason to go about it, but it really is. Like, all of my friends are going to play it. It's going to consume their lives. It's free. And I already have a phone that'll play it, so I might as well just play it, see what it's all about, and if I don't like it, I can always quit. Except that it's really fun and addicting. I don't think I could ever really play any of the other games, though, because that would involve a monetary investment on my part. I haven't had a handheld gaming system since the OG Game Boy, so I would have to go out and buy a handheld gaming system, buy a game, and invest time that I don't really have into it, so probably not. It's not going to get me to watch the show or play games or anything like that. Like, this will be the one thing that I get fixated on. It's sort of like how there's a mobile Sims game, and it hasn't inspired me in my year exactly of playing to go out and buy a Sims game for my computer. I play it because it's convenient.
So if anyone out there would like to send Kat a 3DS and Pokemon Sun and Moon for a belated birthday present, shoot me an email. We'll work out the details.
That came off really creepy.
Yeah, that was awfully creepy.
That was the point. All right, so Tony, you think you're going to be able to try and con Skyblaze into getting into Sun or Moon?
Oh, I've got to try. I really am going to try. Try to get her into one of the older ones. I think maybe like Leaf Green for the Advance, but she wasn't really into the whole sort of, you're sort of walking through a field. Suddenly you get attacked and it's like you can't really get out of it. Whereas with Pokemon Go, it's like you can walk down the street and it's like, it's a Pidgey. We've already got 10 of the damn things. Don't need another one, just walk on by. There's no sort of commitment that you have to fight it, that you have to ask about running away from it. You can just walk straight by. So I think she's quite happy with that sort of low commitment type thing with the Pokemon on that one. I actually find some of them quite cute and always ask me, like, which one's that one? What was that one? What's this one?
Okay, but you think you might try again in October when the new ones come out?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and I'm sure she's probably in bed listening to this and stealing her resolve. It's like, no, it's not going to happen.
Very likely.
I have a will of iron. Okay, all right. Anyway, those were from Hank. Those two questions. And so now we have one here from Edward, and this one is for Brian. Excuse me. And he asked what you think of the latest screenshots that were put out of the upcoming Wonder Woman film.
There's new screenshots? I'm sorry, I've been really busy in my life. I didn't even know. Do they look good?
They definitely look a lot better than Batman vs Superman. There's none of that Zack Snyder film, washed out filter. There's actually, I can confirm, there's actually color on the costume.
Well, that could just be set
Photoshop.
Yeah, well, not photo. Well, yes, there's probably Photoshop involved as well, but that could just be set photos where they just don't add the filters, because they'll probably add the filters, because fucking everyone loves filters in that universe. I don't know why, but I haven't seen it. I've been so busy, so I apologize for wasting this question.
Okay. Well, don't worry. He's got a second one here, which is what are some other Justice League characters that you think would do well on film?
Oh, Martian Manhunter. So Captain. Well, no, not so Captain Atom. Captain Atom's kind of a hard one. He's more of a Cold War kind of character. Blue Beetle. I think Blue Beetle. I would love. I guess I mentioned before a young Bruce Campbell would have been a fantastic Ted Kord. Hold on, let me go look at my bookshelf here. I got so many more. Hawkman might be all right. His backstory is a bit convoluted. Shazam, because hopefully we'll have a movie. I still don't know exactly what's going on with that, but Captain Marvel's always pretty good. Let's see, who else do I got over here? Let's see, Booster Gold. That might be kind of fun. Batgirl. She wasn't technically in the Justice League. Now I'm just naming off names. I'm not even sure if this even qualifies as me answering the question. I'm literally just going through my collection of trades right now.
And just naming stuff you'd like to see?
Basically.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, that's all the Ask the Geek questions that we have time for this week, because we got a lot to talk about with our discussion topic today. But as always, you can send your Ask Geek questions to us through the email at drgonzo@nerdofthethirdpower.com. Send your questions in. We love hearing from you, and we love answering your questions and reading them off on the air. So who knows? Maybe we'll get your question read on the air. And same address for the random topic of the week, which what did we say next week's was going to be? Or did we
it's random. It could be whatever the audience wants.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Strange ways you've seen people try to cheat at a game. That'll be our topic for next week. Strange ways you've seen people try to cheat at a game. So let's see. I guess I'll tell my story first. I knew a guy who would try to load his dice, and which he'd drill a little hole and he'd fill it with cork or something. And supposedly it made it messed with the weight ratio, so it would roll a certain way. And this wound up coming back to bite him in the ass when he discovered cooking dice, which is when you put the dice in the microwave for like, a few seconds, so it kind of softens up a bit, and that also affects how it rolls. And he put the dice that he had loaded in the microwave, not forgetting which dice it was. And the air inside the hollow space inside the dice wound up heating up and expanding, and it caused the dice to explode in his microwave. So now he had to explain to his mother why there were shards of dice embedded in the interior of her microwave.
It's quite simple. He rolled a natural 1.
All right.
Sounds like a good idea, dude.
So I've got these metal dice. They'll do.
Oh God! Don't ever try and put metal dice in a microwave. Please don't.
No, please don't.
What about you, Tony? What's the strange way you've seen somebody try and cheat?
I'm trying to think really, because there were like moments in video games where it's that I can't think of a good example now, but it's like things where it's like you can't really get away with that. That's got to be cheating. It's like, well, if the game lets me do it, it can't be cheating. And it's like if you like, you can do like run up against the side of something, and it will let you like you're trying to get over a wall into an area which is supposed to be blocked off. But if you run it at a particular angle, you can sort of clip through, and it's like, well, the game's let me do it. It can't be cheating.
And then you fall out of the world, like, oh, maybe and
then it's like, cheating. Okay, yeah, that did kind of bite me in the ass there, yeah.
Karma, bitches. Brian, what about you? Strange way you've seen somebody try and cheat at a game, tabletop or otherwise.
For tabletop gaming, do not play with lawyers.
Oh God.
Do not play with lawyers.
I sense a story behind that one.
So I have a friend now. He's off doing lawyer stuff, but he was in law school, and every time I played a tabletop game with him, despite the fact some of the tabletop games I play are cooperative, lawyers will argue about the rules. Now, lawyers are smart enough, they actually know the rules. But the reason they're arguing is they want to get you to shut up or move on or let them do what they want. So they'll constantly try to pick apart the rules, or, hell, can you read this again? And are we sure that's what it means? Because the definition of they, and they want you to go, well, you just, fuck it, do what you want. I don't care anymore.
So now I have to ask, have you had an argument with one of your lawyer players about what the definition of is?
Almost.
Like that makes my head hurt.
It almost got to that point. Where I remember I grabbed the rule book, turned and sort of faced him like he was a child, pointed and said word for word what the rule was. It's like, and now if you don't get it after this, you're a fucking idiot.
Because
roll the die.
Because I've had a player who, when I was in a tabletop group, tried to weasel out of something by arguing what the definition of is was, and he had the GM. He looked the GM square in the eye and said, "Define is," and you could see the GM's brain just break. Like he went cross-eyed, trying to figure this out. I was like, it is itself. It is its own definition.
The best. I'm not sure the best part. The thing with when I argued with him was that I would win a lot the arguments. To which point we all sort of settle down, and then I look over going, "You're a fucking lawyer. How am I winning?"
All right.
You went to school for arguing, and I won.
All right.
Should have been on the debate team.
Kat, what about you? Strange ways you've seen somebody try and cheat in a game.
I can't say that I can remember anything, but you talking about playing with lawyers. So there's a game called Super Fight.
Oh, I know.
Don't introduce your friends to this game if they are lawyers, because all it is arguing back and forth. That's all the game is. And my friends and I have played this game. So basically you get a character or a person or something like that and an attribute, and the other person gets a character and an attribute, and then you two have to argue over who would win in a fight. And everybody else who's playing gets to be the judge and decide who would win. And you're just asserting that you would win for this reason. And my friends will get some sort of magical creature. My friend got a unicorn and then tried to argue that this unicorn could do anything because magic. And making the argument that the unicorn could do magic, therefore the unicorn could make anything happen. And I had Jack Bauer. I'm like, God damn it.
This sounds like the geek version of Pictionary. It's a game that's just designed to end relationships.
Yes, very much so. Except it's it's just worse. It's just worse. There's certain friends that I can't play this game with because they will just keep arguing and arguing and arguing, even though we're long past the point of caring anymore. But most of my other friends are just like, I concede.
Okay.
It's one of these
My
things
guy,
that Jack Bauer would
Bauer,
win.
has had the worst 9 days in a row. I mean, just terrorist attacks after terrorist attacks after terrorist attack, and he still gets the job done. Fuck your unicorn.
That's why Jack Bauer won over the unicorn, but it was still really hard to convince people that Jack Bauer would win when you're fighting a magical unicorn.
Okay.
I do like the fact that everyone sort of accepts the my headcanon that the series of 24 is just this guy's worst day after worst day after worst day. There's no time lapse between them.
None at all.
Alrighty, so that's the random topic for next week. Strange ways you've seen somebody try and cheat in a game. So, yeah, go ahead and send your stories into drgonzo at nerdtothethirdpower.com. And so with that, we're going to jump right into our discussion topic with what is probably the biggest geek news story of the year. Like, I'm calling it. There is nothing that is going to top this story. Our discussion topic for 2016, like, unless like fucking Leonard Nimoy and Robin Williams like rise from the grave and do like an improv act together, there's nothing that will top this, and that is Pokemon Go. It's taken the world completely by storm. It's absolutely everywhere. It's added $7+ billion to Nintendo's stock value, and it's quite frankly the biggest thing I have seen in gaming since ever. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about Pokemon Go and tell some of the stories that we've had playing it, and discuss the good and the bad, and see just like how this has affected us, like not just nerds, but just like us as a species, as a culture. Like this is something that has very quickly become not just a nerd phenomena, but just like a cultural phenomena. Have you guys noticed that?
I do like the fact that we're sort of broadening our view of this, because it does, like, my local news had a story and had a map for, hey, this is probably good areas to catch Pokemon, and I sat there going, you're my news station. I get you for traffic and weather, but this is really cool too.
I've had a similar thing with the BBC News. There's like a news story which actually shows you the sort of the Pokemon that will hatch at certain distances, and it's like you're normally there for the horrible, depressing news and politics, and occasionally telling me that another celebrity's died this year. When did you come to get this knowledge from? Did you actually have somebody who's secretly a nerd working with you?
They brought in the 6-year-old child of the catering guy to come in and educate them. Just imagine like a bunch of stuffy British journalists standing up while 6-year-old Tim is going, and this is called a Rattata. It is a normal type Pokemon. I don't know what accent this is I'm trying to do, but I'm sure that Tony is getting very offended by it.
Not offended, just confused.
Just very,
which country are you from?
No, you want to hear confusing accents? Ask me sometime after the show about the time I got off a plane in England and heard a woman from Liverpool singing "I'm a redneck woman" and trying to do a Southern American drawl. It was the weirdest moment of my life. But we digress.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is just absolutely everywhere. And like, I knew when the trailer was first released that this was going to be something special, but like, I could not in my wildest dreams have begun to imagine what a phenomenon it has become. So, and it's kind of fortunate that we have the combination of people here that we do, because we've got people here who've been, like me, who have been into Pokemon for years. We've also got people who've never been interested in it whatsoever. So, Kat, you've told us a bit about you told us earlier, how and why you got into it. But like, what's your take on this whole thing as someone who's kind of new to the Pokemon craze?
I wouldn't say that I'm new to the craze, because I've just been a quiet observer all of these years. Always just a little bit on the outside, but not having any sort of emotional investment to make me care enough to take part in it.
Hiding in the bushes like Nigel Thornberry, smashing.
Yes. Gals. it's kind of wild because Pokemon, from the time that I became aware of it, was always a cultural phenomenon. But it was at a time where parents did not understand Pokemon. They didn't like it. People were saying that the devil was in that show or the game or the whatever. People are still going to say that, but still, it was like at the time, people were really, really, really confused by it. And now it's been around for quite a while, and parents understand what it is. Oh, it's this cartoon, it's this game. We all kind of have a sense of what it is, so it's not quite as scary now.
Well, it's because the people who played it when they were kids are now having kids of their own,
right?
Which now makes me feel really fucking old.
Yes.
Well, it has been 20 years.
We just had a show about it.
So yeah, it kind of just surprised me that it became so big so quickly. But on the other hand, I feel good that it did. I feel like people have a much better grasp of it now than they did 20 years ago, or however long that it came to America. I feel better about its presence now because people are understanding it. It's like it's everywhere. And people are cashing in on its popularity any way that they can, and in ways that's good, and in many ways that's bad. But overall, I think it's just really impressive, especially for Nintendo, who hasn't been doing so well. And then they just, gave this other company, like, hey, make us a game with this. And now suddenly their stocks are way, way up. So good for them.
And when she says people are cashing in on this, we don't just mean like oh, people are trying to sell like eggs on eBay. I mean like full blown businesses have become aware that they're Pokestops. I'm not going to bother to explain what a Pokestop is. If you're listening to this show, you know what it is. And they're offering half price deals if you catch a Pokemon in the store, or if you belong to a certain team, or if you put a lure on if you drop a lure at their location. It's everywhere. Like this is sort of the watershed moment for me. I went down into downtown Annapolis a couple weekends ago with a friend of mine, and I don't know. For those of you who aren't familiar with downtown Annapolis, Main Street is basically this long street. It's maybe about a quarter of a mile long. And it goes down a hill towards the water, where there's this sort of town square where there's like a big roundabout and there's park benches and stuff, and Pokestops everywhere. And we saw a whole bunch of people walk around with their cell phones. Like this shows how oblivious we were to how big this got so quickly. Like me and my buddy, we were there. We were catching Pokemon, and all of a sudden we heard. We're down by the water, and we heard from the upper end of Main Street this voice shout, "Oh my God, there's a Snorlax up here!" And 50 people around us from all ages, sizes, and whatever just started tearing ass up Main Street. And we're just, me and Chip and my buddy, we're down there at the water, and we're just like, what the hell just happened? Like, we had no idea, the people around us were actually playing this. So at that point, we started looking up from our phones, kind of looking at the people around us and meeting and talking to them. And, we made a lot of new friends that weekend.
It's so funny, because when we were discussing it on our show, we were talking about it coming in the future. And we didn't know really when. We kind of figured maybe this year. And then literally it was just like a week, it was like a week before it launched. It said, hey, by the way, it's coming out July. We're like, ooh. And then once it hit, that's the sound I make when I see things I'm interested in.
And wasn't the Pokemon show actually the last one we did before we went on break for the 4th of July?
I think it was.
So, in between that episode and this one, now it's suddenly out, and it's like, oh shit, we are not ready for this at all. But now, Tony, what's the reaction been like over where you're at?
In a lot of places, really positive. Been a wide variety of weird news stories in regards to it. Somebody calling up the police and saying that someone's stolen their Pokemon. People who've been caught under thousands of meters underground in tunnels trying to track them down, and have to get the emergency service out to try and track them. In where we're based, we actually had a group on Facebook come together to do sort of walks around the city to meet people, make friends, and go out and catch Pokemon. I ended up designing a flag for them, making it like the night before it was due. And a lot of people turn up for it. Like on the Saturday, this Saturday just gone, when the servers had crashed, they had actually managed to get about 151 people turning up. So I thought that was kind of amusing.
So, but like, the thing that really that I find really great about this is like how it's bringing people together. Let's just we have a rule on the show, no religion, no politics, but we can't really sort of discuss this without kind of putting proper context surrounding this. How fortuitously timed this was, because let's just be completely honest, there's been a lot of fucked up shit going on in the world over the last several weeks. You had the whole thing with the Brexit vote. You had the two shootings in the U.S., followed by the riots and the sniper attack that followed. We had another cop shooting in Baton Rouge just this weekend. Just the world going completely crazy and ready to tear itself apart. And then here comes this stupid little cell phone app that suddenly everybody is playing, getting into, and going out into the world and having fun, meeting new people, making connections. And I really think that this could not have been better timed, this release.
If you're about to say, like, do you think Pokemon can save the world? If you had asked me that question before this app came out, I'd be like, no, you're silly. And now I will fully admit, like, there is a giant positive attitude behind this app that makes me kind of go, well, maybe. I don't think it will. That's my cynical side, but it's like there's something here that we're really. I'm taking walks in my neighborhood. I don't take walks in my neighborhood. I didn't like walking around. I didn't like meeting people. It's my social anxiety. I have a walking route now. I have a walking route, and I see other people, and I go, "Hey, good evening," and we all share our phones, going, "Hey, how you doing?" That's amazing to me.
And you see all these stories shared about psychologists saying Pokemon Go is doing wonders for people with depression and social anxiety, and I'm left speechless by it. Kat, you've been quiet. Crazy. Why don't you add something?
I'm sorry. If you would ever stop talking, I could talk. No, it's really quite inspiring what people are doing and how it's helping people. I had a walking routine before this game came out, but now I have a longer walking routine that I meet so many more people now. You were talking about your experience on Main Street in Annapolis. We have a Main Street here in St. Charles, and every single night there is at least 200 people. And it's not like a big town or anything. It's just Main Street. There's a bunch of shops, and if you keep going down, there's a couple of clubs and bars and stuff. And 200 people every single night at minimum, walking around Main Street and the park that's nearby. Just everybody having a great time. There's a little bit of team rivalry, but it's all in good fun. Just the spirit and the energy is so phenomenal. Honestly, it's like being at a convention every single day. If you've never been to any kind of sci-fi convention or a comic convention or an anime convention, just find the most populated area with a bunch of Pokestops and go hang out with those people. That's what a convention's like, when you're all getting together, everybody has one thing in common there. And you can bond with just that one thing. You can bond with anybody. And all these things, your age differences, your race differences, your religion all this stuff just sort of melts away because you're enjoying this thing together. And it's just incredible. There's nothing quite like that feeling of being able to connect with a total stranger because of this one thing you have in common. And to be able to do that with hundreds of people every single day, it's really incredible. It's no wonder that people are, helping their depression, or there's been people talking about how it's helping people with severe autism. just because of some stupid little pocket monsters. It seems so trivial and so frivolous, but Gonzo, you're absolutely right. It couldn't have come at a better time, because more and more it seems like the world is just tearing itself apart. And here's a huge group of millions of people who are all coming together. That's incredible.
All because of the Pokemon.
Well, the Pokemon TV series, there aren't very many wars going on, so it's kind of a peaceful place. So I was kind of hoping that would sort of progress into the real world through this app as well. It'd be very nice, but, you know.
Well, we have virtual gang war now. That's what's going on between
Well,
the three teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that a bit, because I'm seeing two schools of thought spring up about the teams. Of course, like Kat said, there's a team rivalry, but I've also seen a bunch of people coming up with ideas on like how the teams can work together to make the Pokemon hunting experience, a more enjoyable one, for everyone who's playing. Like, for those of you who follow, who are members of our Facebook faithful, and if you're not, why? I put an image up there last night that I put together on sort of my take on how the teams could work together. Team Mystic would be like the instructors and the teachers. They teach the new Pokemon hunters like how to play the game and kind of welcome them to the community. Team Valor would be sort of like the keepers of the peace. Like if trouble springs up, they'll step in and say, okay, everybody behave and play nice. And then Team Mystic would kind of tend the Pokestops, drop the lures, then go to hospitals and drop lures in hospitals so that sick kids could play. That's another thing. Like people are going to hospitals and dropping lures so that sick kids can play Pokemon, or they're donating the miles that they walk to charities, or walking shelter dogs, and all these ways that people are turning Pokemon Go into a way to help their community. It's just I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
And I will gladly take virtual gang war where no one actually gets hurt or killed over the shit that actually will happen in real life. Like these are just fun little memes. No one's actually going to do anything bad about it. Like that's fine. It's like, oh, that captured a gym. Darn you! Like, just wait a couple hours. I gotta wait for my phone to recharge. Then you're in trouble. Like, I will gladly take that.
And just remind you that when there was the Amazon Prime Day, and one of the things they had on sale was one of those sort of like portable batteries that you could take around to obviously plug up your phone and charge it off. So a lot of those got sold on that day when Pokemon Go came out.
Like,
yeah.
I went looking to buy one myself. I couldn't find a single one that was in stock. They were just gone.
Yeah, so like, as soon as it got confirmed that it was out and freely available in the UK, as the next day at work, everybody come in with battery packs and things that they purchased like the day before, or like just mentioned that they'd ordered them. It's like, good Christ, am I missing out?
And I'll bet you, like all the cell phone retailers, like, what the fuck is going on? Suddenly, everybody's in here buying charge packs.
Was it buying charge packs, changing their contracts to unlimited data?
A bunch of the Best Buys in my area, including my old Best Buy, put out Pokemon Go support tables. They got, a table and they just put a bunch of battery packs on it, and water and snacks and all sorts of stuff that you might need when you are out poke hunting.
Oh yeah, and a lot of places over here are doing that too. Which, by the way, if you're going out and poke hunting this summer, for God's sake, stay hydrated. I don't know about the rest of the world, but where I'm at, it's routinely getting above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So, please, for God's sakes, stay hydrated. Stay safe. Don't hunt yourself to heat stroke.
Oh,
and
poor
don't forget
you!
top up on suntan lotion.
Just close to 100 degrees. I'm living on the sun, asshole.
So you need to stay hydrated even more.
I will say that there's this weird funny moment I had when I first started my little walking path, is because I do know a fact, because I live in Texas and it's hot, and I was like, all right, I got my water, I got my pack, my walking path takes me to my CVS, I'll get some more water there, and I remember putting this all together, walking out of my door, locking it, and going, all right, pulled out my phone for for Pokemon Go, and had this moment going, am I a trainer? It just like clicked in my head, going, "What am I doing?"
So, but like like I said, it's amazing how it's bringing people together. And we mentioned the memes. The meme that to me sort of exemplifies this whole thing is this one. It's a screenshot from the Transformers cartoon series of Optimus Prime and Galvatron shaking hands. And the caption says, "When you find out a manager you hate plays Pokemon Go, there will be no war today, Optimus Prime."
Yeah, one of my bosses plays it, and I'm like, what?
It's one of those things like, yes, congratulations, we are now both on the same team. That still does not mean you get that day off, I'm afraid.
It's like, but Pikachu?
But we're Poke Buddies! It's like, no. Just no.
But of course, to the yin must come the yang, to the cream must come the cheese, and to the dizzying high of fun and enjoyment, there must always be a killjoy. And I find it. I thought that this was something that they could escape unscathed, but unfortunately, there have been more than a few people who have just decided that this is just an awful thing, and they just need to shit on it however they can.
Well, Gonz, I know you probably want to go off on a rant, but let's. I don't want to mean to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off. Assholes exist. Assholes are always going to exist, and the reason assholes exist is to try to ruin people's fun and whatever. I feel like we shouldn't even really pay too much of attention to it. If they can't have fun, why should we let them ruin our fun?
Well, the thing is like, I'm not really like, I don't really get angry at assholes, but the ones I'm seeing for Pokemon Go, I'm really more confused because like, I'm trying to get in that headspace and trying to figure out what about this could possibly be a bad thing. But like, you hear people, radio talk show hosts, making fun of it. You hear people, you hear about businesses putting up signs like, oh, Pokemon are for paying customers only, and it's just like, like, okay, if someone's walking through your lawn and you're getting kind of tired of that because it is your property, okay, fine, that's fair. But there are some people who they seem like they're trying to. It's sort of like when Star Wars came out. There are those people who's like, "Oh, I've never seen any Star Wars movies." I'm so hip and cool because I'm a mature adult. And you're starting to see those people come back, and I'm just like, why? Why is this a bad thing? Like, what part about this? What part of this phenomena says that that this is wrong? And the nadir of the proceedings for me was this article that was sent to me. And it's from a UK newspaper. And the basic synopsis is this woman went out and played Pokemon Go, and she was highly offended that guys would try and talk to her about the game. Like, not even like trying to get a date or anything, just like, oh, hey, there's a Poliwag over here. And what really broke my heart was the very last paragraph, which says, "What happened to the good old days when gamers stayed firmly indoors with no need to venture outside and nerds feared social interaction? If only there was such a thing as Pokemon Go away." And, that kind of thing just breaks my heart because, what kind of mindset do you have to have? What kind of history do you have to have where you can look at all these people having fun and bonding and think that there's something freakish about that?
They're assholes. They're just assholes. Don't worry about the assholes.
If anything, just feel sorry for them because they can't enjoy themselves.
Seriously. I feel pity for these people. But it's a sad thing because, like, here's something that, has brought people together in a way that we've never seen before. And I cannot for the life of me find anything bad about it. And I'm really gratified to see that it's done all the good that it has. And I really hope that this isn't like a flash in the pan thing. I really hope that this is something that stays big and stays popular for a while. I mean, if nothing else, there's going to be spurts because when they release the Johto Pokemon and the Ho Index that people are going to go fucking bug nuts again. You just know that's happening.
It's basically the expansions for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I just hope they add a couple more potatoes to their servers because, man, they go down a lot.
Show of hands, who here has actually managed to go a straight 12 hours logged in without the servers crashing? Not I.
I got
No.
close on Saturday, and then or it was a Saturday or Sunday, and it was like, oh, by the way, released it to Canada. Pew! Okay.
Do you know how many? Do you know the day Canada went live and the servers went down again? You know how many people I saw sharing the "Blame Canada" song from South Park? Seems that everything's gone wrong since Canada came along.
This is like the service had gone down before, and it's like they realised, okay, we're going to release it in another country. It's like, do you think we should probably get a bit more server space, or compensate for this? It's like, nah, it'd be fine. It's just playing Buckaroo.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me back in the early 2000s when Penny Arcade was first getting really popular. They eventually had to impose a policy where they wouldn't put links to anywhere on their front page because they were so big. Anybody that they posted a link to, everybody would go to that page, and it would cause the servers to just melt. That's what I imagine happening here. Is them with Pokemon Go is like they just flip on the servers and immediately everything just explodes.
This is like we basically have to put the servers in a building, put a long cord away from it, and then somebody with a button that turns the whole thing on, because it's going to be just like that scene when the Joker blew up the hospital in The Dark Knight.
Oh wow.
It's like, oh, it's working. Oh, no, get the new building up. Because then we built spares.
So we've talked a bit about the impact of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the game itself. Like, what are some features that you really like about the game, and what are some that you're kind of iffy about?
I'm getting sick of eggs.
And I'm getting sick of the fact that I don't have enough space for eggs. You only have 9 slots, which to fill up really quickly, and then after which you would never see another egg again until you actually get to those damn things hatched.
Pretty much. I mean, it's just and the incubator thing. Like, you have the one infinite incubator. Then every so often they'll reward you with, oh, here's another one. You use it 3 times and it breaks. Because you're starting to see a little bit of the microtransactions coming into play. Oh,
Yeah.
you need another incubator? Well, get some Pokecoins. Well, how do I get Pokecoins? Well, you give us money. We give you Pokecoins. I feel like I've heard this before. You already gave me the money. Yes, I know. But
Well, I've been told that you can get them if you win gym battles.
Yeah, if you can, if you get into a gym, take it over, and then have a Pokemon standing there, I think you can have up to 10 Pokemon at various gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you go into the shop, there's a little shield thing on the top right. You can tap and you get rewards from it, which is going to be Stardust, which, as most people will probably know, you use to power up your Pokemon, as well as Pokecoins you can then use to purchase things from the store.
I will say it's kind of interesting that despite the fact they have microtransactions, I have yet to use one.
Yeah, I know. I'm like swimming in Pokeballs and potions. I still keep my second job at Domino's on Sundays, and there's a Pokestop right on the entrance and exit of the parking lot. So whenever I went on delivery, I'd hit the Pokestop. I must have had like some 300 Pokeballs by the time my shift was over. What about you, Kat? What are some features that you really like and some that you're a little iffy on?
I like everything except the fact that I cannot get Pokeballs. I have to go way out of my way to get Pokeballs because I live in the Midwest, and the problem with the Midwest is you have to drive everywhere to do anything at all whatsoever. So, if I really need to stock up, then I have to drive at least like 10 minutes to Main Street. Which isn't that bad, but if I just want to take a walk around my neighborhood, I can only hit one Pokestop without having to cross a highway.
Whereas
So-
me, being England and it very cramped, I don't have, unfortunately, that problem.
Now, there is something cool there. They are sort of like realizing that they may not have as many Pokestops as they wanted because they just took a lot of information from Google. Since the fact that one of my Pokestops near me actually doesn't exist anymore, like the picture, like it got demolished because it was abandoned. So they actually, if you go to their website, you can always like suggest new areas of Pokestops and gyms. So it sounds like they want to at least increase those a little bit.
Yeah, because as with Cat and those in England who live in really rural areas, there is like hardly any Pokestops or gyms or anything out there, so it makes it very difficult for people out there to enjoy themselves with it as much. So it's really useful to be able to have that option of saying, yeah, make this place a Pokestop, or I'd like this place to be a gym, so I can actually enjoy the game some more.
Okay. I'm a little disappointed that they haven't introduced trading yet, but I know that that's coming down the pipe.
Seeing how the fact that their servers explode on a very constant basis, I feel like trading is the priority of that has gone down their list.
Yeah, I'd probably wait for them to release it across the globe first before they even consider bringing out trading.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the one feature that I'm a little iffy on is the whole mechanic of using candies to evolve your Pokemon. Because some Pokemon need an obscene number of candies in order to evolve. Like Magikarp, you need 100 candies in order to evolve. Now, I've crunched the numbers on this because I have very little to do myself in my spare time. You get 3 for every one that you catch, plus 1 more if you transfer it to the professor. So that means you can get a grand total of 4 candy for every Magikarp you catch, which means you need at least 26 to get a Gyarados.
Did you say 100 candy?
100 candy.
Because it's 400 candy.
400?
It's 400.
Yes.
That's the joke.
Oh, then it's gone up since last I looked. 400, yeah. Okay, so yeah, then you will need 400. 101. And
one to keep, 400 to.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I've seen one Magikarp in the 2 weeks that I've been playing this game.
I've managed to catch
2.
at least 10. I wouldn't say 10, less than 10 I've managed to pick up.
So maybe it's just my area. Another one, and this is just kind of more a personal quibble of mine, but I ran into an Abra last week, and those little fuckers are just as slippery in Pokemon Go as they are in the base games.
Yep.
It's great. Do you want to hear the story of how I caught a Pikachu?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
This is a fun little. So the other day I was in one of our grocery stores down here, and it was I'll name it so maybe people know about it. It's called HEB. This one's called HEB Plus. It's the biggest one in the whole state. I mean, it's massive. It's like one of those, almost like a super Walmart, but people actually want to go there. All right, no laughing. Thank you. Okay. But it's massive. So I was in there just grocery shopping, and I happened to be in the electronics area. My phone went off, and I looked at it. I was like, oh, it's a Pikachu. So I tried to capture it. It ran away. I was like, oh, shit. A couple more steps. I showed up again. I was like, oh, I tried to capture it. It ran away. A couple more steps. I did this from the electronics department to the complete other side of the store into the produce department. I had nothing in my cart. Everybody watched me in an empty cart take a couple steps and go, oh, damn it. Oh, damn it.
Now, was it the same? Was it the same Pikachu that you were chasing down, or was it like just running and popping up somewhere else?
By the time the 4th time it ran away, I didn't care anymore. I said it's on my Facebook page when I took the picture of it. It's hanging out in the salads. And I said, I've chased you through this entire fucking store. You're coming home with me.
You did the Aragorn thing. Long have I hunted you. Long have you eluded me.
Then when I finally caught it, I was like, yeah. And there was this old lady who was behind me, just went, started clapping. And I was like, where? And I looked around at the part of the store I was in. I was like, how did I get here?
It's like one of maternity wear. So, well, what were you expecting?
What about you, Kat? What's the funny Pokemon Go story that you have?
Gosh, I wish I had a really funny one. I went out the other night, again, to Main Street, because that's where I go. And I went with 2 of my friends whose phones are not good enough for the game, and they're both getting ready to upgrade soon. And we said, you guys might be bored, but we're just going to go walk around and do this. And these are, both of the people who came with us are big con goers. So we sort of walked around, and it was really interesting to see how much they didn't even play the game and still had a great time. Like, my friend Cole was super excited, even though he was just sort of tagging along and telling us, oh, hey, watch your step. Don't walk into that pole. He was just being sort of our caretaker. And he had a phenomenal time. He took videos of us while we were out, of all these people who were out there having great time. So it was really cool that even if you're not playing the game and you're still hanging out with people who are, that you can still have a really fun time. But so far, my favorite thing that I've seen is there was a pair of girls getting out of a car, and they had a little red wagon, and they were loading up cases and cases of water, like 3 or 4 cases of water into this little red wagon. And she was filling she had like a satchel full of food, like snacks, like Rice Krispie treats and stuff. And she said, hey, do you guys need some water? I'm giving away water to everybody who's playing Pokemon. Don't want anybody getting dehydrated. So these 2 girls had come the night before, apparently, and given away a shit ton of free water, and they had just a little cup there for tips. And if they got enough tips, they would come back the next day. They would spend all the tip money on more water. So it's just some nice girls going around, just giving everybody free water so that nobody dehydrates. I thought that was incredibly nice.
Okay. Tony, what about you? You got a good one?
For me, it's a combination of 2 things. One is like when Skyblaze got into it yesterday, in fact. Just hilarious watching her, and then suddenly her phone will buzz. She'll go, "Oh, what's this?" And then expectantly thinking it's a Pokemon, and then it turns out it's a message off Facebook or it's something else. So it's like really excited as though it's Christmas, and then it's like, oh no, it's not. It's the coal at the bottom of the stocking. But for me, it's been I ended up catching a Ghastly and naming it Rick Ghastly.
Oh, okay.
Is he allowed? Is he allowed to go in the Pain Glove? Do we send guests to the Pain Glove?
No, we won't send him to the Pain Glove. We're nice.
Yay!
Okay. Well, let's see. I've told one story, but I've got another one, and this one sort of happened by accident. But when I went down to Main Street again this past Saturday, and I'm driving through town, and my air conditioning doesn't work, so I have to have my windows down. And I'm driving through, and I'm a big metalhead, and I love video game cover bands. So I was playing some Power Glove on my radio, and I like to play a little loud, but not so loud that the whole car is vibrating. And as I'm sitting at the light on the roundabout at the top of the hill that Main Street leads up to, I'm kind of not really paying attention to what's on the radio. And I forget that the album that I'm listening to has a heavy metal cover of the first Pokemon cartoon theme.
Yeah.
I want to be the very best, And that starts playing, and all of a sudden, a dozen people are just milling around on the parking lot, just stop, turn to my car, and start singing along. So I'm like, yeah, what the hell? Give the people what they want. So I cranked the volume up and threw the mini block party for the duration of that song. And I had people following me and singing along as I drove into the parking garage. So that was that was a neat, fun little moment. So yeah, but Pokemon Go. It's been a huge phenomena. So I guess we're kind of running short on time, so let's start wrapping things up by just kind of giving our final thoughts on this whole thing and what it's done for people. So Kat, why don't we start with you?
I think it's incredible. It's really quite amazing what it's done so far. I think it's going to do a lot of good over the next couple of months. I hope it has the lasting power to continue to do good. I just wish that news outlets and the media weren't banking on it quite so much, because I'm hearing, I don't know about you guys, but I'm hearing a lot of negative bullshit coming from the media about it. And it doesn't discourage me from playing the game. It just makes me angry. So screw those guys. But I hope it can last, because it's really fun.
Okay. Brian, final thoughts?
Well, I do want it to last. And I agree, every so often the media outlet would say something, but like I said before, they're assholes. Just ignore them. They don't get it. They're not in the in crowd anymore. They're not the cool kids. We are the cool kids now. I know it's weird to say that.
It's very weird to say that.
But it's still very early. I think we're still in the euphoria of it being new and neat and cool and Pokemon. So my hope is it does sort of last. It has a lasting effect and everything like that. Tell you what, this is probably the most I've ever played any sort of mobile game ever. So hey, get a score for them.
Alrighty. Tony, what about you? Final thoughts on Pokemon Go?
I really hope it sticks in for the long run, especially with obviously because they've got all 721 and plus now with the Sun and Moon coming out. Obviously they've got loads to play with on there, and my biggest hopes is that through the amount of people playing this game, that it will also get other people to start designing technology that will either work well with it or stop your phone from wanting to set itself on fire with how hot the goddamn battery gets when you have had it on for like 5 hours straight.
Yeah, he's right. It's very true.
All right. Well, I've pretty much said over the course of this episode everything that I have to say about Pokemon Go. So I'll just say one more time. Like I said, I knew that this was going to be something special when we did our Pokemon episode a few weeks ago, but I could not have even in my wildest dreams have imagined what we've seen happen. And it really warms my heart, and it restores a lot of faith that it restores a lot of faith in people that I've lost over the last couple of years. Like, we've seen so much of like just outrage and arguing and people just tearing at each other. So now we've seen something come out that is bringing people together and healing broken bonds and creating new ones, and it's restored a lot of faith that I had lost, and it's something that I really hope it becomes a permanent fixture and that continues to do good in our lives. So that's about all the time that we have for Nerd of the Third Power this week. Thank you, Tony, for filling in for Skyblaze this week.
You're welcome.
So it was a pleasure having you on the show. And thank you, as always, for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. As always, I'm Dr. Gonzo.
I'm the cat.
I'm Brian. Go Team Mystic.
And I'm Tony.
All right, we'll see you next week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Please hunt safely. We'll see you next week. Taka, play us out.